Good evening and welcome to Let's Talk Shop with Russ. I'm Russ, as if you didn't know that yet, and we're all here tonight. Going to do a pretty interesting subject tonight that I have just learned about, and that is sublimation. And my daughter Ashley is into sublimation, and she's been doing it for a while, and I got some hints and stuff from her, and I decided to get into it myself. So along with all the other things that I do, 3D printing, lasering, scroll saw, woodworking, lathe turning, I can hold up every finger and probably fill something in that I am doing right now. But I don't know. I've always wanted to get into screen printing. Uh, I mean, it was just when I saw people making T-shirts and everything, and I actually started to get into the screen printing business at one point as a part-time job, but I didn't. But then it became that screen printing was a dime a dozen. Everybody was doing it. So it was hard to make a niche because everybody was doing it. And a lot of screen printing shops fell off to the side. So it was like, I'm glad I didn't get into that. But sublimation is a lot like screen printing in a way. So we'll get into that. But the difference between screen printing and sublimation is screen printing is mostly for fabric. You can do it on T-shirts. You can do it on some of them. You can't do it on towels, at least not that I know of, unless they're slick. But cloth type work and sublimation is kind of along that type, but it's easier to get into, and it's not near the amount of equipment that you would have to have. So that's what I'm going to be talking about tonight is sublimation and showing you a few things that I know about it and I've learned about it in the past several weeks because I've been really interested in. You can get into sublimation for probably around $1,000. And I know you're thinking like, oh, that's a lot of money. No, it's not really when you consider that you're getting in that $1,000 everything you need pretty much. The biggest thing is choosing the right printer, which we'll go over. And once from that, it's just some of the odds and ends you need to know. So first off, let's find where everybody come from. The first one they say that I'm right here is going to get booted out. So Jim, don't make that mistake.
Oh, hang on. I was busy typing something stupid in the chat. Jim Bashir's Driveway Workshop, and I am not going to say anything stupid tonight. Because Chris, it took me a long time to set all this stuff up on the porch.
Chris.
Again, Chris here from the Old Cranky Workshop. Find me on Facebook and YouTube, and that's about it.
Cool. Al.
Oh yeah, it's me, Gilroy 79763, Odessa Woodworking and Maker Shop. Just search for Gilroy 79763, and I am here.
Donald.
I'm Donald from Donald Vlogifies Wood Shop. You can find me on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And my website's rednecknohow.com.
Dixon.
Dixon Hoffman, HoffmanSignsAndDecals.com.
Paul.
Paul Corliss, Paul's Messy Workshop on YouTube, on Instagram, and present and accounted for at this location.
Sir.
Are you going to be leaving us in about 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. I mean, Dix is going to have to help me out because he's been doing this for a while too, and I'm just learning. My daughter's been doing it for a while, and I'm learning from her. And So Dixon, I'm sure I'm going to rely on, and he can have some input on this too. I don't know how much Jim and Chris and Al and Donald and Paul.
I'll give you wrong input. How's that?
Oh yeah.
I watched a couple of videos this afternoon.
What impressed me was my daughter Ashley had got into sublimation here a few months ago, and she's also got into another thing that I want to explore that also. And I was like, what the hell's sublimation? To make a long story short, you can pretty much turn any inkjet printer that has a eco tank or tank system. Okay, it can't be cartridges. It has to be an eco tank or tank system. I know Canon was and Epson was one of the first two printers on the market to have what they call an eco tank, where you could have tanks instead of buying their cartridges. You could buy ink and pour them into the tanks and fill them up. And it actually was cheaper if you sit down and figured out how many prints of paper you were going to make or whatever. It was actually cheaper to go with the eco tank. But the printers were a little more pricey. So that being said, you have to have an eco tank printer, because what you have to do is you could. Oh yeah, I bought it. You have to buy the ink to fill up their eco tanks with sublimation ink. You do not, and once you create, or I'm sure you could clean them out. Don't get me wrong, and go back to regular ink, but once you fill them up with the sublimation ink, that's the reason you have to have ink. Huh?
My wife was mentioning converting hers over. In other words, getting another printer and then converting the one that she currently has. So I don't think you can go back and forth, assuming that's why she was saying she was going to convert the other one. I don't know either.
Yeah, I'm sure that you could work it out after a few prints, but you know, what the heck.
Well, yeah,
but anyway, the second thing that you need to understand, you buy the sublimation ink and you load this into the eco tanks, not the ink that comes with your printer or the ink that you buy. It has to be sublimation. And here it is, sublimation ink. Okay? Has to be sublimation ink. But the ink, the tank inkjet printers will print this.
Yeah, you can, but it's not recommended to go back and forth.
Yeah, it's not going to, yeah, because you'll get, if they get it in the jets, and it can like mess everything up. Dixon just informed me something really cool tonight, and you said something about you need to use it a lot, or what happens if you don't use it a lot?
Right, it'll plug the jets up. You should run either your Eco Tank, Epson, or your Canon at least once a week, and that'll keep it running.
Right. So in other words, where your inkjet ink and the printer would last for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks without even after printing, this sublimation ink will actually clog the jets if you don't use it all the time. So that's the next thing. The other thing that I learned with sublimation, and we'll get into what sublimation is. I just want to go over some of the basics. Is that what are you laughing at?
Sublimation is the drinking word.
Yeah. So now you made me forget what I was going to say. Damn you, Al.
Just don't say the word.
The quality of the printer. I mean, you can go out and buy eco tanks that are really cheap. They're making them nowadays, but you want a really good one that will do photograph quality, because the quality of your print that's going to be on, whether it be a cup or a t-shirt or whatever, depends on the quality of the print. So if you have an Eco Tank printer that's printing stuff good enough for like documents and stuff, you need an Eco Tank printer that's good for photographs. And there is a difference, trust me. I prefer Epson. My daughter uses Epson. I've been using Epson printers for quite a few years. And I want to tell you, the Epsons kick the other quality of the printers' butts. I mean, I have seen a big difference in the Epsons since I used to be an HP fan, but because they were so cheap. But then when I got into wanting to produce high quality photos and stuff, I learned that HP is lacking. Canon is another good Eco Tank printer, and Canon does have Eco Tanks. I think the two top of the lines for me, at least, is Epson and Canon. HP falls down, huh?
Yeah, I agree with you on that too. I think
I think Canon and Epson have stepped up their mark on their Eco Tanks and have the thing going. So, I mean, I wish you could see this in real form. This is like you're looking at a photograph, in all sincerity. If you look really close in on that, the quality of this is just like, wow, I'm impressed. And I can't forget about my Biden Be Gone spray quality. Yeah.
You know, Russ, I was kind of wasting some time between a couple of sales calls last week, and I went into a micro center. Yeah. So I went in a micro center, and they've got just everything in there. But their tank printers really aren't that expensive anymore. I know, like a couple of years ago, I went in and looked at them when they were kind of brand new, and they were pricey. But now they're just $300 and under. But if that's what you're doing,
yes,
it seems to be worth it,
But that's not you need a photo quality. Like, for instance, the Epson that I bought is normally $700. Now, I bought it because of the Labor Day sale and got 150 off. So that's what I'm saying. You can buy the cheaper model of the Epson, the Eco Tanks, or where you can refill them, but the quality of your prints won't be up to par compared to the more expensive ones. I mean, you want a photographic quality printer, so you were going to have to pay $500 plus. So you can buy. I went and looked at some of them. They were $300, $350. But if you look at the DPI and the photo quality of them, they don't match some of these more expensive.
I think the one I saw was an Epson.
Yeah.
But they had others there. They had Canons. HPs were like, forget it. They were way too expensive.
Yeah. Well,
I think HP is getting ticked off at this because people are coming around to the fact that you don't have to pay $500 for a set of ink cartridges that only have 3 grams of ink in them,
Yes.
Right.
So it's,
Epson's losing money. Yeah, Epson's losing money. So I chose the Epson, and I chose the Epson. I'll have to look back on Amazon and figure out which one I ordered, but that's one of the biggest things. And then the quality of the ink. This is my daughter told me she used several others, but she likes, and the name of it's Hippo, like as in hippopotamus, Hippo ink. She found that to work better than any of the inks she had tried for sublimation. Yeah, there you go, Hippo ink. So I'm going along with, I trust my daughter. So I'm going along with Hippo ink. And basically, you don't put any of the ink that came with the printer, the inkjet. You put the Hippo ink, and it comes with the same colors. It comes with a light gray, photo or black, photo black, gray, magenta, red, yellow, all the same colors that fill all the eco tanks. She likes Hippo ink. I'm going to try Hippo ink because she's had great success with it, and I trust what she says and tells me. So you just fill those tanks up. Now, the second thing you're going to need is let's talk about t-shirts. T-shirts. Okay. The sublimation printing will bond to any material. That includes 100% cotton, right on down the line. But the problem being is it likes polyester. It will actually bond to the polyester in a shirt and really like lock into it and fry into it so that you get not only a good print, but a long-lasting print. If you used 100% cotton, within a few months, you're going to see that it's going to start fading out. If you went to 100% polyester, that sucker would probably last the rest of your life. The sweet spot is a 65-35. They do say the minimum is 50-50. 50% cotton, 50% polyester. The more polyester you have in a shirt, the better off you are. And like I said, the sweet spot is 65-35. And the reason being, if once you get into understanding what sublimation is, the ink actually, you have to have sublimation paper, which I'll step up and get the paper or whatever. You have to have sublimation paper. It prints to that. And then you put the paper over your what you want to bond it to, like the t-shirt, and you apply heat. And the heat actually transfers the ink from the paper into your shirt, cup, hat, whatever you have. It actually bonds very well to polyester. Very well. Or the actual sublimation cups, which you can buy. They are made of a certain material. This is the same cup as this, but this is sublimation cup. It's pure white. This looked like this at one time. And she put the sublimation here. Let me show you full screen. She put the print on it, and it turned out like this. And they're permanent, dishwasher safe. Pretty much this thing will last as long as anything you have once it gets through the sublimation process. The heat transfers it off the paper onto this cup, and it bonds, and it's there. So the same thing with t-shirts. I brought some t-shirts. These are actually sublimation. Oh, and most of your cups come with their own plastic straw. They're not that expensive. I bought a set of 6 cups. They cost me $3 a piece. It was $23 with shipping and tax, which were these for 6 cups with the straw for $23. So they're not that expensive.
Is that cup insulated, Russ?
Yes, they are insulated. I'm not going to say they're a Yeti. I'm not going to lie.
Well, hey, the Yeti that we got down there, man, that thing is awesome.
Oh,
I use it every day.
Yetis are just out of this world. I bought the same one that his wife bought, and I can put ice in that sucker, and at the end of the day, it still has ice in it.
Yep. Yeah, me too.
Now, these are sublimation T-shirts that I bought off of Amazon. They're a little bit more expensive than your average T-shirt, but here's the point: as long as you go to that 65-35% cotton, or 65% polyester, you can go to Walmart. You can buy collared shirts.
Yep.
The sky's the limit on the shirt you want to buy. Just the preferred is 65-35. 65 polyester, 35% cotton. So I did a little experiment today, and I just typed in 65-35 cotton T-shirts and went up through a run. There was Walmart, Belk Lindsay, Target. All of them have all kind of shirts that are cheap. Now, I bought these off of Amazon. It was one white and one gray. And they are definitely 65-35, and there's sublimation T-shirts. These were a little bit more pricey because I bought them off of Amazon, but they weren't too bad. They were like $8 a piece, so $16. But I just wanted to get a couple of shirts in, and it was like next day delivery, so I went ahead and bought them. I ordered some more off of Walmart sublimation T-shirts that come out to be 6 of them for $4 a piece. And so just shop around. You can go to Walmart tomorrow and pick out some shirts that are and it can be collared. It doesn't matter. It can be T-shirts. Anything that's 65-35 cotton polyester will work. For some reason, it doesn't like the cotton. I'm not saying that you can't take a cotton shirt and put it in there and sublimate it, and it'll work. It's just over so many washings, it'll start to fade off, where the sublimation type shirt with a more polyester. And then when I went in and started understanding what it was talking about, the bond between the sublimation ink actually likes polyester, and it bonds to it. And I guess these cups are the same way. It bonds to the polyester very well and locks in on it. In other words, it almost becomes a permanent bond to the point you can't wash it off. Where if it bonds to the cotton, it's only like an ink applied to it, and over a period of time, it kind of like fades away. So I'm not telling you I know everything about it. I'm just learning. So that's one of the things I've learned. Same thing with hats. They make sublimation hats. One of the reasons I bought the hat press but I bought a bunch of laser or leather patches for my laser. And I can not only do sublimation, but I can buy a regular hat and put a leather. I can do it on my laser with the leather and burn it into it and imprint it on the hat. So I got two means for the hat press.
So I got a question about bleeding. Does the ink, when you put this stuff on, does the ink bleed at all? Depending on, like, if you use cotton, will it bleed? But if you use the real,
I have heard that
shirt,
there is a bit of bleeding in the cotton, not substantial because the heat sets it so quick, but it's not like if I took I took the letter A and I did it on a actual shirt that was designed for it, 65-35, and put it on the cotton, the edges might not be as crisp.
Okay.
Yeah, the key thing to that is they call it gassing out. It won't gas out if you keep it tight while you're sealing it, and that's why they use some of this tape to hold it in position. It's transfer heat tape, and they'll the key thing is if you keep it tight, it won't gas out. You gotta
Captain
keep it tight on your press, and then you bring your heat press down and keep it all smooth and tight, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You won't get
But I
gassy
did
out.
hear that like I said, the cotton, 100% cotton, everything, they won't last as long.
Right.
Okay.
I'm not saying that you can't. If you want to wear a T-shirt once a month for a year, and so you're only washing it once a month for 12 times, it probably at the end will look as good as it did the day one. But if you're going to wash it every day and wear it all the time, then yes, it won't hold up as good as the 65-35 polyester.
If you overheat it and you don't set your timer right for what you're doing, you'll get gassing out and you get what you call ghosting. That's sort of what
Yes.
you're seeing on the
Okay.
edge, ghosting.
Yes. It will actually cause ghosting. It'll look a little bit more fuzzier than what it should have, rather than a nice solid. Yeah, it has. And everything you do, trust me, for the last like 2 or 3 weeks, I've been reading everything and watching a lot of YouTube videos, and they all say the same thing. Temperature, which the normal temperature, I think, was 360 degrees. And for a time of 1 minute for T-shirts, go check this. Don't believe me because I'm just learning this, but there are tons of videos on sublimation, and all of them pretty much say the same thing. I watched 4 or 5 different people, and they all come up with the same conclusions. So, what do you? Isn't it 360 or?
Yeah, I did everything from, and it depends what your substrate is, but I do everything from 350 all the way up to 375. But then there's
Yes.
tricks. There's tricks like everything else, like 3D printing. If you want to do stuff faster, you bump that up to 375 and cut the time down.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're gassing that ink onto the substrate, and that's the
And
trick.
that's what it is.
And you want to peel it off
sublimation,
before it cools down also. So you get the
yes.
gassing between the two. You don't want to sit and let it cool down
Yeah, as
too
soon
much.
as you take it out, you want to take the peel off the sublimation stuff, because sublimation is the transfer, if I'm not mistaken, of a solid to a gas without going through the liquid state.
Yep.
Oh,
So
okay.
what you're doing,
it's all
you're
about
taking
the gassing.
this. Yeah, you're taking the solid, which is the ink, and transferring it onto your substrate to a gas, which will adhere immediately because of temperature without going through the liquid state. But as soon as it comes out of the press, you pretty want to break it apart, so the off gassing, first off, it'll cool off, but the second off, the off gassing will cease to exist. In other words, it'll quit off gassing.
So there's a question out there, and I don't really know how it fits in, and that's not a pun on the question, because I asked for questions. I said, please put a QQQ. So
yeah, I'm open to questions because I've been trying to learn this.
The question is, and honestly, maybe Len's Handcrafted is going to have to explain a little more. It says, Russ, do they come in extra large? Thank you in advance. Honestly,
what's that? The shirt?
That's my question. That's my question to Len's question. What do you mean?
Yeah, no, Len, they come in fat ass T-shirts.
Do they have FA plus or just FAs?
Yeah, it's called FA plus.
Yeah, I don't know what that applies, so Len might want to explain.
Remember that your heat press
get the
is your limitation.
You can get, and here's another thing. It's 2 things. I bought a 13 by 13 inch press, so I can do a sublimation 13 by 13. Right. I bought a printer that prints out 13 inches wide, so I can make 13 by 13 prints.
Yeah.
So 13 by 13 is pretty well the maximum that I've seen thus far.
And Walmart sells extra large or extra small to 5 extra large.
Yeah, I pretty much even though I've lost 53 pounds, I'm still I'm the kind of I got my family's notorious for a belly. So even though I lost the 53 pounds, I was up to a 3X. Now I'm down to a 2X, but I'm pretty well holding a 2X because of my belly.
Bye,
So
Donald.
Bye, Paul.
the 2X.
Yeah, Paul.
So did Donald make it back?
I thought Donald was leaving.
He's right there.
Oh, Paul left.
No, Paul started waving. I started waving, and
Yeah,
now
Donald waved. and I thought
I'm
Donald
sorry. I'm sorry.
sorry.
But yeah, so I mean, it's yeah, $1,000 is a little bit pricey, but
Yeah.
my daughter has
Right in the
paid
church, yeah.
for all of her equipment and is making money. She does all this. She's a redneck just like me. She did these Biden be gones, and as fast as she can make them, they were selling.
I get it now. I understand. Len was saying, can we get the shirts through you? Can we get extra large?
No. You go anywhere. You can either buy sublimation shirts and buy them in the size you want, or you could go research and find out 65-35, 65% polyester, 35% cotton. You can buy if you can find 65-35 t-shirts for $3 a piece, buy the crap out of them because because they will work. They don't have to say sublimation.
Was in one of the videos I was watching. It was saying the shirts had to be like a lighter color.
Well, that's the next thing I want to talk about.
Yep.
The darker, all right, sublimation does not print white. It's either red, yellow, blue, what is it? Magenta?
Cyan.
Your cyan, your
Cheyenne.
3 major
Magenta.
colors.
Yeah, and
Magenta,
then
yep.
black, and there's also photo black. Those are the 5 things for sublimation. So if you wanted to buy everything needs to be light. You can do light blue, you can light green, you can do light gray, you can do light pink, you can do any color as long as it's light. Now, these are the 2 shirts that I chose to buy off Amazon. This one's white and this one's gray. So, but they have to be light because there is no white print. It's either those colors. So if you bought a black t-shirt, all you could do is print a block across this, like a sign block, and then leave the letters open for it to show the t-shirt through. If you get my gist. In other words, I would do a square and I would type in Russ and I would adhere the square to the shirt, and all the RUSSELL would be white because it was open. So yes, I could do it that way.
Yeah, you can invert it like that. Yes.
Yes. So, but it will. Yeah, you have to do light colors, like this light gray, which is this right here. Let me take it out of the bag. I don't like taking them out of the bag because I don't want to handle them too much. Because I was also told not to handle them too much because your oil in your skin can get on the sublimation shirts and cause some problems. I don't know if that's true or not. But this is what the actual here. Let me get it.
I would think the oils would affect it somehow.
Yeah, you'll get a goofy spot if there's too much oil on a spot.
See how light gray this is? So this would work great with a navy blue. It'll work great with red. It would work great with yellow. It would work great with.
Wait. So send Russ your orders for your dye sublimated shirts. Tell them what you want put on it, and Russ will send them out. Maybe
Yeah,
that's
right.
what Leonard's wanting to know. If you
Now
can
the
make it-
white, the same thing with white.
Yeah.
You would want to consider that. But if I bought a black shirt and I wanted Russ put across the back of it, the only thing that I would have, there is no white print. Don't print white on the sublimation paper, so you can't do that.
There's tricks you can do with colors.
Yeah, there is, but for the
Yep.
most part, I'm just trying to tell you, you want to pick light color, light green, like any light color, pink, purple, make like lavender, really light lavender. You could put black on, that would show up great.
Russ said
You
them
know.
tricks are gonna cost extra though.
The what?
I said you say them tricks are gonna cost extra though.
Yeah. But yeah, you have to go something, and that's the reason most sublimation
Yes.
cups and everything is done in white.
And that's exactly what Len wanted to do. I'm reading it too. It says, sent you my info for Len's Home Improvement with my logo. Could you make them? Thank you, Len. There you
Yes,
go.
I could, but I'm not going to because it would
Pass
cost.
it along
It would cost too much in shipping.
Oh, where's Len
I mean,
Len is,
I could do them for you, yes, if you wanted, but I'm gonna have to charge you enough
Of
to
course.
make it up
This
in
is
shipping.
America.
Yes.
This is America.
Yeah.
It's everything. Yes.
No, I could do them. Yes, I could do them. I just have to charge you an upcharge for shipping and everything.
It's like Liza Minnelli sings, "Capitalism makes the world go round, the world go round."
Yeah.
Doesn't she?
You have to pay for the shipping
Now,
for
another
the shirts
thing-
to get to you. Then you've got to pay.
Now, another thing you can do is you could sublimate to wood. I found that out.
That sounds kind of kinky.
No, you can take a wood, like you say you have, first off, you want a nice solid wood, like a Baltic birch or something, or
Got my attention.
yeah, and then what you do is you want to paint it first, and then you put your sublimation on the paint, and then you come back with a I'm trying to think of the name of it. Hold on. It's what do you do, like a document when you want to seal it in plastic?
Laminate it.
Laminate. Then you laminate. You take laminating paper and put over the sublimation and the wood and laminate it over the wood with your heat press, just like you would do for a t-shirt. And then you can come back with a razor blade and cut both of them off, and then boom, you have a picture on. Now, the wood needs to be as smooth as possible. They say they've used a lot of Baltic birch because Baltic birch plywood is very, very smooth, and when you sand it down and paint it, it doesn't raise the grain a lot. And you can seal it if you want, but then you sublimate the ink onto that, and you use your press just like you would for a t-shirt. But when you bring it off, it doesn't bond as well to the wood and to the paint or whatever. So that's the reason they're saying use lamination paper over the top of that, and laminate the lamination paper over the top of that, and then take your razor blade knife, like if you got a circle, cut it off all the way around the edge, and then boom, you have a laminated piece of wood that'll last forever. And you could actually laminate stuff in different, not only circles, squares. You could actually laminate pictures onto circles and squares the same way you would on t-shirts. And I bought some laminating paper It actually comes in folders for our laminating machine. So what you do is just split the end of the laminating paper and just use one side of it. You reuse the other side of it and put it over the piece of wood. So if I had a piece of wood that was 8 inches diameter and I printed a photo that I wanted onto wood, 8 inches diameter, I would paint the wood. I would let it dry. I would sand it slightly. Then I would laminate the picture to it and then come back and laminate the laminating paper over the top of it. And now I have something that's sealed in and won't come off.
Would a couple of coats of clear coat work do the same thing as lamination paper?
Well, the problem is you have to realize it only likes white. So therefore, if you had the wood underneath, your picture wouldn't be it would adhere to the wood, but it wouldn't turn out as good.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if I wanted to put a big SWC on a piece of very clear Baltic Works plywood, yes, I could spray some lacquer over it. I could adhere that to it, and I could cover it over, and you would definitely see the black SWC over the Baltic Works plywood.
Well, that's what I was talking about, putting the clear coat over it after you put the sublimation down.
No. It's paint, sublimation, and it will bother. It can actually. I watched a video of it, and when they tried to spray something over it, it actually broke down the lamination.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it has to be. It has to be.
Did it orange peel?
Yeah, it would do something like that. It has to be the actual laminating material. But like I said, most of the laminating material you can buy, and it's a laminating pouch. You stick a document in, run it through the laminator, and it seals it up. Well, you got the lamination on both sides. You just cut the pouch in half, and now you got two pieces, and now you laminate the wood with one. You laminate another one with the other half. And that seals it in, so it'll be pretty much perfect, permanent. You can laminate coasters like that. And what my understanding, all the videos I watched, because of the laminating paper over the sublimation, it doesn't even bother it. So I could put Donald's ugly mug on my coaster and laminate it, and I could look around and stare at Donald for the rest of my life.
Oh man, that would be awesome. Can I have Paul's?
Yeah.
Gotta help.
Or Chris will do.
So there's a lot of things that you can do with lamination. I'm sorry I haven't been able to watch out in the chat. I've been looking for these guys and to answer.
I just realized I need to get into this so I can send you all coasters of me mooning y'all.
Yeah.
There you go.
Donald, you send a picture of your big hairy ass, and I'll laminate it and send everybody one.
Dang.
I'll laminate it and put it on every one of them. Yes, and send it to all these
if I
our
ever
friends.
send you a coin, that's what'll be on the back of it.
I mean, the things that they're coming up with and how to do it. I thought the wood one was like, wow, really? And because the lady was doing and she did coasters. She took a picture, did it sublimation, and she painted all of her blanks. She lightly sanded them. She put the sublimation over them. Then she immediately took and cut all of her sublimation papers into small squares. She sublimated on the round, or put the not sublimation, the laminating paper on top of the coaster and laminated it. Then she pulled it out, and actually there was a square. She just took a X-Acto knife and cut the circle out around, and Bada boom, bada bang. She had a coaster with
Bada
your
bing.
picture on it.
You can take sublimation
Bada bing.
images and try it on all different substrates, and you'll see what you get. Here's
Yeah.
a perfect sublimation image
It's all about the material.
on a mouse pad. It's all
Your
with
making
testing.
your two most expensive things are going to be your sublimation paper is cheap. Your sublimation ink's not that bad. Your two most expensive things either is your heat presses, whichever way you decide to go. I bought a flat press for T-shirts and flat objects, and then I bought a cup press. And those are your expensive ones, and your inkjet or your sublimation printer. But you can find. I went in. I saw a sublimation or an inkjet printer, Epson with eco tanks for $299 at Best Buy, and it's an eco tank, so therefore it will take the sublimation ink. But the problem being is the quality of the picture. If you want it to be of photographic quality, then you have to spend more for a printer that does photographic quality prints. You have to look at the DPI, the resolution, all that other kind of things for that printer. I wanted one that if I printed my hairy butthole on a piece of paper and sublimated it, that it would look like my hairy butthole.
Why is Donald smiling?
But so if you want photographs of your family sublimated on something, you need a photographic quality with a high 300 plus DPI capability to be able to print photographic quality images. And these couple of $100 ink, even though they're eco tanks, won't have that high resolution. Yes, you're going to get the picture, but you might be not get the quality that you're looking for. My printer was at $150 off, was still around a little over $500. So, and I chose the Epson Eco Tank. I bought an Epson Big Mac Daddy fax, photo, copy machine. I'm in the whole 9 yards. It'll print 3 by 19 sheet paper. That was over way over $1,000 when I paid for that 3 years ago. And I want to tell you, I have never had a printer work so well and never had the quality. I used HP for a long time and thought HP was really good until I bought my first Epson. And when I bought that, I've never looked back. Mine's an office. It's actually an office printer. It'll do 8.5 by 11. What's the next one up? 13 by something. It'll do all the way up to 17 by something. So yeah, it's an office printer, and it'll do faxes and everything you're going to imagine. It'll do it, and I have never been happier with that machine. I wanted something instead. You know how when you buy a Scroll Saw Working Crafts magazine and they have the 2 prints on each page, so you have to put them together and join them and everything. I wanted one that would print the whole damn piece of paper and I could stick it on a piece of wood and scroll saw it out. And that's what I got to be able to print large formats. Unbeknownst to me, the quality of the print for photographs blew the HPs away. And I'm like, damn, I'll never go back to an HP again in my entire life. So I pretty well been buying Epsons for quite a few years. And the Eco Tanks came out, and I thought about getting one. But when my daughter told me you need to have an Eco Tank type system to do you just don't put the inkjet in there. You put the the sublimation fluid in there, and which is this. And she said, you buy it, it comes the same way, you just dump it in the tank. She goes, and I said, okay. So that's the reason I chose Epson. And I wanted a wide format. I don't want to be able to just consume the 8.5 by 11. I want to be able to print something at least 13 inches or more on the back of a t-shirt. So this Epson that I have is the 85. Here, let me look. It's the T. Oh, come on. Where is Amazon? Oh, here it is down here on this
Yeah,
end.
I think Aussie Man's got it right out there. I'm not going to read his comment, but yeah, definitely. You could definitely do that, Aussie.
What?
I'm not.
Oh, yeah. You could definitely use your own button, see what people finally understand why they call you an a-hole.
Yeah.
Mine's an Epson Echo Tank Photo ET855 wireless format, wide format, all-in-one super tank printer. Scanner, copier, Ethernet. In other words, I can hook it up to Ethernet and just send it over. I don't even have to have a cord hooked to it.
It's an 8550. Is that what you said it was?
Yeah, ET8550.
Oh, there it is.
$700.
Actually, I bought mine. I thought I was going to get it at Walmart, but we had a Labor Day sale through Best Buy, and I had $150 off through Best Buy.
Well, if the wife's going to get it, the wife's going to get it, right?
Yep.
Happy
So,
wife,
so $700 I paid basically. I
got a yes.
$550. $550.
She likes that.
So, and I just thought it was interesting because when I first heard, and sublimation is the ink is printed to the sublim, and here, let me show you. I bought a pack of this.
So it's going, folks. You know, it's kind of like crickets.
This is a 150 sheets, 8.5 by 11 for like $30-something.
So there's another
Lens
question.
handcraft. The answer is no, because once you run that sublimation ink through your lines and through them jets on the ink jets, you're not gonna if you put other ink in there, you're not gonna clean them out. It's just gonna mess it all up. You're starting to mix inks and it's not gonna work.
Yeah, it's not gonna work.
Once you can, because you're gonna mix the inks in the lines and in them jets.
Yeah, it could have a chemical reaction or whatever. But we're talking about $30 for 150 sheets at 8.5 by 11. Now I got bigger ones I bought, but this is just to show you that it's not that expensive. The ink, the paper, all the other stuff is really cheap. It's the machines, the heat press, and the ink, the printer. And why I said I keep.
I was going to say my wife bought one of those flat presses like you've got, the heat thing, 13 by 13.
Yeah.
Because she has to weld kind of fabric onto backing to make purses with.
Yes.
And so she just went ahead and bought one of those things, but it was like $350 for that thing. They weren't cheap.
Actually, only hold on, I'm going to tell you, I got a 15 by 15, which is the one my daughter uses.
There's a difference between the hinge one and the floating one.
No, hers like you lift the arm up, or the whole thing. The whole top comes up with it, and then you
That's the better press.
That's what I have, but mine's 15 by 15, and it only cost me $174.99. It will do up to 500 degrees. And it has an automatic timer that, you know, it beeps
Yeah.
when you want to release
Yeah,
it
this
and
one does.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was only $174.99, and it is the hinge release. In other words, you can adjust the attention to it. So $174.99. The cup was heat press to do all these type of cups was only $159.99. So, like I said, those two are more expensive than anything else. And the printer is actually, their printer is going to be the Mac Daddy.
Yep.
The ink was 70, 80 bucks. Here, I can go back and tell you hold on, just give me a second. Amazon, the ink. The ink was the ink that my daughter recommended was $54.88.
I know we might look into it. We got the press. I mean,
yeah, the paper was $17.75. The t-shirts were $21 with tax for the 2 shirts. So that's without tax, it'd have been about like $9 a piece. You know, so it's really the pouches for the wood, which I went ahead and bought, was 50 of them, 11.5 by 17 for $23.42.
Oh, I see this one on Amazon she got now. It's a HT Vrot 15 by 15. But you just tell it how long you want it to heat up for and what temperature, and then it automatically opens.
This one sets automatically too. You just tell it the temperature and tell it the thing. Now it don't automatically open, but you tell it the temperature and tell it the time. It preheats and then it beeps. You open it, set the thing down, close it, and once you close it, it beeps when you want to open it.
Yep. Pretty cool.
So that's what I'm saying. The heat presses weren't that bad. They were more expensive than all the materials. The printer was the big boy. But if you want the quality of the print, so to speak, you need a photographic quality printer, because the clearer the prints are, the clearer they're going to be on whatever you're sublimating.
Well, her birthday is on the 9th.
If you want to look at this, her birthday's what?
Her birthday's on the 9th. I might buy her one for her birthday and then say, "Yeah,
if you want to look at the quality of this,
there you go."
Yeah.
I mean, that is like really, really good. The colors, even his face, you know. That turned out really good. Now, here's an issue that you need to play around with. If you get into certain patterns, which my daughter was talking about, you need to try to match up the seams so they're not so noticeable. And some of the patterns you can get them to down pat where you can't even tell where the damn seam is. But now this one blended with the stars and the stripes, so there was no way of getting that perfectly down pat. So, but yeah, I think let me look at this one over here. Was it? Yeah, this one turned out pretty good. That's where the join was, right there.
Line.
Yeah. But that turned out pretty good because you got all this stuff in there.
Yep.
That's brilliant.
So
if you want to sell
And then
something,
she did a floral
was
pattern
perfect.
that she gave my wife, and the floral pattern, you have to look really, really close to figure out where the hell that damn seam is.
Yeah. Len has got a great idea, Russ. You need to get your daughter on as a guest.
Hey, there you go.
I have asked her, and she may do that in the future. But she's the one that started me down this path, and I decided I'm going in a different direction than what she's going in. I'm going after woodworkers, and I'm going after I want to do Christian stuff for my church, and see if people are interested in, and then I'll give my people that want to buy stuff for my church, I'll make a couple of bucks, but I'm not going to charge them like, if I can make a cup with the sublimation and everything I have in it, I'll figure out how much it costs, and I can make it for like $15, and I'll charge them like $18. Make like $3 off of it just to cover some of this, the stuff. But I want to do some Christian stuff, like put John 3:16 on a cup, so that when you take it into your work, you can show, they'll see all the John 3:16, John's love. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, for whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. Or yea, through Psalm 31, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of the death, I will feel no evil, for my rod and thy staff are with me. So that kind of stuff. So she's got her end of the market. I'm going after a different end of the market. So, but yeah, I thought it was interesting to talk about this tonight. I know that, and like I said, it's really not. Hell, you'll spend $1,000 buying a scroll saw with all the materials and everything you need, with the blades and the wood and all that kind of stuff, and buying patterns. You'll spend $1,000 getting in a scroll saw. So it's not that far out of fetched, and you don't have to buy everything at once. You can buy things a little long at a time, and when you get everything together, you can, do it. Do it to it.
Just do it. Oh wait, that's already taken.
Russ, here's a sublimation piece. One of my old pieces that I found. Here's what you're
hold on.
about.
Hold on. Give me a second. Let me get you
This
up there.
This is a sublimation image I did a long time ago. This is what you're talking about. Stuff like this.
Yeah. And it is backward picture.
Yeah, it's reverse.
Yes,
print.
but
has to be. Yep.
Yes.
It has to be. Yes.
Yes, anything with letters, flowers you can get away with, but anything with letters has to be mirrored onto, so when you print it on the subject, it comes out right. That's another thing I need to explain that too, though. Yeah, so if I wrote Russell Clarity across this piece of paper, so to speak, or like I wrote this, right? It would have to be mirrored when I print it. Otherwise, you would not be able to read it. So everything in letters specifically have to be mirrored. You can get by with flowers because people can't tell the difference in flowers because they both look the same way. But letters have to be mirrored. And when I say by mirrored, if you're doing Corel Photoshop, or whatever, you can just tell it mirror the image and it'll flip it upside down. So in other words, when I print it, if I printed it on sublimation paper and I look at it, I can walk up to the mirror and hold it up and it'll look like I can read it. If I can't read it, you didn't do it right. So.
You can't read backwards?
No, not yet. So I enjoy being able to do, I get bored doing one thing, and I'm not going to say scroll sawing was boring, because I always go back. I love scroll sawing, and it meant a lot to me for many years. but I haven't forgot the art of scroll sawing, and I want to get back into it. I thought about the other day going back in and doing like once a month doing a scroll saw video and posting it, because I still love doing scroll sawing. But I enjoy the fact, one of the things that keeps this thing up here and keeps it going and keeps it driving and keeps it moving and keeps you from getting Alzheimer's, which they've done a study on this, is keep it moving, keep doing different things, keep learning, keep reading, keep this little sucker up here doing its computer capabilities. That helps more than anything. So by expanding and learning different things and knowing different things, I'm actually building. Even in my old age, I'm keeping this little thing between my fingers going strong. I don't want to get Alzheimer's. I have Alzheimer's in my family. And some of the things that I've learned over the years is that, number one, don't be a recluse. Stay around friends and family. Keep being involved. Keep learning different things. I remember years ago, when my second wife and I went to Michigan to visit her grandparents, her grandmother was getting Alzheimer's, and the doctor told her they had a Nintendo machine hooked up in their living room. They were playing games. And I asked, what the hell are y'all old people playing games? And her husband looked at me and he said, the doctor told her the more you can stimulate those brain cells, she's learning and keeping her motor functions going, longer it will prolong the Alzheimer's. And they're learning that the longer you keep using this thing up here, the better off you are. So that's one of the reasons I stepped out from woodworking to 3D printing to laser to now sublimation. I'm always trying new things just to keep this little computer up here doing the most efficient work that it can possibly do.
Well, your mind can get atrophied just like your muscles can without you.
Exactly. And the more I can keep consuming and just taking in and learning, the better off I think I am.
Doing
This
the same
up here,
thing
this
over
this
and
up
over.
here runs the hardware.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's definitely hard. Wait a second. You didn't mean that type of.
Yeah.
Doing the same thing over and over again becomes more muscle memory than actually thinking about it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes, I'm having the process. I'm having to learn how to do sublimation. I had to learn how to do 3D printing. I've had to learn how to do resin printing. I've had to learn how to do so many things that I'm getting involved with. And that's one of the reasons I want things that I can, okay, I'm tired of doing some sublimation. Let me go over and do some 3D printing. Let me go over here and do this. Let me go over and do that. And I think my little dinosaur here agrees with me. You agree with me? Yep. They agree with me too. Yep. They agree with me too. So my little dinosaur friend here believes that I am on the right track. So
Is that the exit dinosaur?
no, that's the keep your mouth shut dinosaur. So yeah, I think that's the thing that we all need to do. One of the biggest mistakes that I think when my mother was a recluse. A long story, but she got into a pattern of, I built this room on for her, and I used to cook dinner every night and invite her in there, but she wanted me to serve her dinner in here, and she eat by herself. I used to beg her to come in and eat with us, me and my children. I had 4 children at the time. It was just me and my 4 kids. Come in and eat with us, Mom. No, just bring my plate back here. I'll eat in here alone. And
The TV will turn your brain into mush.
yes, and it would took me to physically drag her out of this room into the kitchen to get her to eat with us, and that wasn't going to accomplish anything. So I kind of tolerated it. But as I look back on it, It's probably the biggest mistake I ever made in her life was by allowing her to do that because it seemed to aggravate and bring on the dementia even worse. So uh, I have it in my family. My brother is 74 years old. He's still painting and climbing a 35-foot extension ladder at 74. Yes, he paints houses. I asked him, why don't you retire? He said, what am I going to do? Sit at home? He goes, no, as long as I can work, I'm going to work. He goes, yeah, there's going to become a day that I realize that I can't climb a 35-footer anymore. But until that comes, I'm going to keep climbing that ladder and I'm going to keep on painting. I don't want to be like our mother. And in some ways, he's right. He keeps on going. He keeps on going. And that's my feeling. My back hinders me from a lot of things with 200 herniated discs, 4 fractured vertebra, and a sciatica. I can't climb a 35-footer, but by God, I can still 3D print. I can make sublimations. I can make resin printing. I can work on my scroll saw. I can turn a bowl. I can make a box. I have so many things that I can keep myself involved in and keep from falling into that trap of not using the wood between these two pieces of board. So that's what I'm going to keep on trying to do. I keep on wanting to gain knowledge. I keep on trying to learn. And I think that's what we all should do. Don't just sit down. Don't just sit on the couch. Get up and do something. You might not be, I am bound on what I can do. The doctor told me I shouldn't be lifting anything more than a gallon of milk. I do, and I continue to do. Some days I pay for it, but I still strive to keep this damn computer in here working. So, and that's what we all should do. You should think about that. Alzheimer's. Yeah, somebody said Lynn's handcrafted wood shop said Alzheimer's is scary. My wife have had early signs of it. Yeah, Alzheimer's scares the crap out of me. I would rather go to sleep and die and wake up in God's presence than I had to lose my mind. I'm just scared about that. And so I just have a feeling as long as I can keep this sucker going, I'm going to try. And when you say sometimes like, wow, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing this, you're doing, yeah, it's a mix up of things. It keeps my mind going in different directions. I have to think, I have to comprehend, I have to learn, I have to do something rather than lay in bed all day or watch TV, like Dixon said. Sit around and watch TV all damn day. So
My mom does.
That's my point. So thank you all very much. I hope you learned something. Did any of y'all learn anything?
Sure.
Yeah, not to get into it.
Yeah. But yeah, so I appreciate all y'all out there. I'm sorry I didn't call y'all out in the chat. I had too much to go over and talk about. So forgive me. I'll make it up to you next week. If you'll come back, I'll announce who you all are. I know there's Aussie Man, Michelle Marcoux, Lynn's Handcrafted Workshop. Thank you for y'all being in here. Heirloom Game Calls. There's a lot of others been out there. I just wanted to bring something else to the table. It's Simply Wooden Creations, but we turned this over to a maker thing, and this is a maker thing. So you can do it. You can do it if you just try. Thank you for watching. Just give me sawdust, lots of sawdust all around me and everywhere. I like it flying all around my shop and even in my beard and hair. Oh, and I forgot to say, if you're too darn busy to get out in your shop and make some sawdust or make some subliminal prints or play with your laser or do some 3D printing or make a bowl or whatever you have to do, you're just too darn busy or you're lazy as crap. Get off the couch and do something.
Well, play with whatever you got.
Hit it, Chris.
Hit it, Chris.
Hit it, Chris.
All right, one at a time. Okay, boys and girls, got to go home. You don't have to go home. But you can't stay here. Finish up
Nope,
your drinks.
gotta go home. See ya.
Finish up your drinks. Exit.
Wouldn't want to
stage
be
right.
ya.
Stage
Good night,
right.
everybody.
Wouldn't want to be